I mentioned the other morning that I noticed at around the time I leave the city and I'll make my way up Marine Drive on the R27 towards the Tableview area. 10:30 maybe. And on the fourth occasion, after seeing the same vehicle, I asked the question, are blue light vehicles, ministerial blue light vehicles, allowed to use the MyCiti lane? Because to me, I recalled after the third or fourth time, it was the same vehicle, a blue light vehicle, possibly that of a minister, a deputy minister, making use of that MyCiti bus lane, despite, around about that time, free-flowing traffic. It's 10:30. There is no morning peak being over by then. Of course, we have seen, on occasion, sometimes minibus taxis. I have seen the odd ambulance also making use of that dedicated lane. But the question which we want to ask is, surely that lane is for exclusive use of MyCiti buses. But also, let me go back again to that, what I believe to be a ministerial or deputy ministerial vehicle. That vehicle, which I saw on that lane the last time I saw it, had come to a stop behind two buses as they were letting passengers off. I think it was at the Milnerton station. And that as a security measure, it makes no sense because you can't do a U-turn in that dedicated bus lane. So what even is the point? So I thought I'd ask Roberto Quintas, MACO member for mobility, who just can use that MyCiti lane. Good morning, Roberto. Really appreciate your time. Off the bat, can ministers in their blue light vehicles use that MyCiti lane?
A very good morning to you, Lester, and to all of the listeners. And the answer is a very simple, straightforward, absolutely not. And I certainly hope that at some point, if you're able, you can take a snap photo of that license plate, because I think between myself and Alderman J.P. Smith, we would absolutely love to know who that is.
I'll give you the date. I'll give you the date or thereabouts, and you can probably check those CCTV cameras on that date and time. Yes.
Yeah, but ideally, photographic evidence is always key. So if there are potentially maybe blind spots in the overall camera network for whatever reason, there may be a glitch on the day, so we can rely on that generally. But photographic evidence of that vehicle in that lane, no matter what type of vehicle it is, needs to be investigated. And I'll tell you why we need to investigate it. It's not as clear and dry as saying only MyCiti buses. However, blue light ministerial vehicles are certainly under no circumstances allowed in that lane. Number one, they don't have that privilege or right over other vehicles. And number two, as you pointed out, it actually, from a security sense for whichever VIP is in there, it's not a really great idea because they will be held up by buses. But primarily, it's about the fact that they do not have that privilege or right to utilize that lane.
What about emergency vehicles? I have seen on time, particularly coming from Tableview, coming either from Tableview, Atlantis, if there are people, remand detainees who maybe need to go to the Cape Town Magistrates Court, and in peak hour traffic, there may be a security consideration that you can't have a police van with awaiting trial, prisoners, stuck in traffic. Are police allowed to use the MyCiti lane?
So your in-transit suspects, felons, or anyone else that is attending a court date or moving between facilities is also not allowed in that lane. And I would say pretty much for the same reason as one of the ones you mentioned around the VIP being stuck there. It also gives an opportunity for that vehicle to be held up under conditions where other traffic may be moving. So minibus taxis also not allowed. Golden Arrow buses not allowed. Who is allowed to utilize the MyCiti lanes are MyCiti vehicles and fleet, including dial-a-ride. And secondly, any emergency vehicle. When I refer to emergency vehicles, I'm referring to ambulances of any type, police vehicles in hot pursuit, as well as law enforcement traffic vehicles in hot pursuit, and then any of our contracted workers that are working on our MyCiti infrastructure. And they, of course, are provided with a permit document, which is then examined should they be stopped or queried as to what they're doing within that shoulder or lane. So it's very, very sort of cut and dry. There's no sort of gray areas. And we do this, number one, for the safety of our commuters and and also just not dangerous. It's just dangerous for whoever's in that lane that shouldn't be there, to have the buses moving at pace to get commuters to where they need to be.
Roberto, I actually just sent a video by someone. It's a dash cam footage of that looks like the Dolphin Beach Hotel, and it's a vehicle that looks like to be having their hazards on, looks like they're dashing because there may be such an emergency. If you do have some sort of life-threatening or family emergency, of course, life isn't always cut and dry and black or white. At what point could you argue, well, there was an emergency, a life-threatening emergency in peak hour traffic? I took my chance and I went and I used the MyCiti lane.
So, unless I'm afraid not. The reality of the situation is that, number one, what is going to constitute a life-threatening emergency is going to leave all sorts of services backed up in administration, trying to establish the veracity of the claim, etc. Number two, there is a safety component and concern for both the user of that lane and, importantly, our passengers on those vehicles as well. And as you've quite rightly said, the buses do stop. They will sometimes stop for a period of time anyway, because you have people offloading, some people unloading. Our change over times of commuters at stops, we try and keep it as efficient as possible. But if you have large queues, elderly people, etc., the stop there can be as much as being at a traffic light. Yes, there are fewer stops. However, there are still the lights and everything else that are there that just are able to move in traffic that is without other vehicles. So that helps speed up the journey of our MyCiti commuters. However, they will have to still obey the same traffic lights that everyone else has to obey. They don't have a magical ability to go straight through red traffic lights.
Very quickly, Roberto, running out of time. What's the fine? What's the penalty?
The fine is at I wish it was more actually. But our fine is currently around the 300 Rand mark for using that service. I am, however, in discussions with our city traffic bylaw department around raising that, because that is, and let's just use your example of your suspected minister.
Roberto, you just gave people
it's not going to break the bank.
You just gave people an excuse by telling us it's only 300 Rand, not giving anyone ideas. 300 Rand. I have a date tonight. I'm gonna use the MyCiti lane and I'll pay the 300 Rand, but please don't. I'm just using that as an example. 600
Rand. Yeah, 600 Rand. So I'm going to give my age away. Let's put my glasses on.
Okay, 600 Rand.
I just put my glasses on to make sure that I was right, and I wasn't. It's actually 600.
600 Rand. It better be a good date then. Roberto,
if it's a hot date and you want to get there on time, 600 might be worth it.
Roberto Quintas, Mayoral Member for Mobility, really appreciate your time. Don't do it. Don't use the MyCiti lane, even if 600 Rand is the fine. It's still a lot of money.